Hey guys, M.V.K here, back again. How's everybody doing? It is great to be back again with another comic review. Yes, guys, I know I am behind on my comments. I am sorry. But like I said before, we got some reviews, and I finished this yesterday. Actually, when I got it, I finished it in no time. But we are on the second part of Predator versus Black Panther. This is part 2. This is the next chapter in the Ben Percy Predator versus Marvel series. We did Wolverine. Loved it. It was one I was looking forward to the most because we've all been wanting to see that. And in this one, it is Predator versus Black Panther, Wakanda in general. Ben Percy is a writer. We have Lee Ferguson. We have Lee Ferguson is an artist, as well as Sean Damian Hill and Chris Allen. There are a couple of cover arts in here that we see, like Ken Lashley does artwork for. How did I like this? This was good. This was fun. This was actually really fun. It was shorter than I thought it was going to be, and maybe it was because of the pacing. This goes from 0 to 100 very quickly. Ben really picks it up in this, and what I like about it, this was very different. This was actually very different. Mr. Percy really does something different with this, because here it centers around, in a sense, proving oneself, that you are worthy, that you are not a mistake. But am I talking about T'Challa? No, I'm talking about this Yautja. This Yautja right here on the cover. So the story starts off in a star system called the Wolf Star System, where that is where this tribe of Yautja has planted their feet and stay. It's like a quarry. They want it, and we see like giant skeletal structures on the side. So meaning this system, the inhabitants of this place used to be like, they were giants or so. Now this Yautja clan leader had 2 sons, and both of his sons are different in a way. One is tall, strong, and a great leader in his own sense, while the other son is shorter and not so much stronger than his brother. Maybe smarter, yes, but he also was born without a left leg, so he has a metal leg for a foot and half, and his father looks at that as weakness. And it gets to the point where the younger brother is more like, I want to prove myself that I'm better than him in a hunting party. And they take to this hunting party exhibition. The brothers pick a team, a tribe of their group and the other brother takes another, and they go to battle. And unfortunately, the older brother, he wins. He beats his younger brother, but he just doesn't beat him. Now he's supposed to have killed him, because that's what, in a sense, killing him would still give him honor. However, his brother doesn't kill him. Actually, his brother humiliates him, strings him up on a tree and just hangs him there. Defeated and humiliated, the younger Yautja brother swears that he will find a way to defeat his brother and prove his worthiness to his father. That is the subplot right there of this story. And the subplot, and how will the little brother do it? He will travel to Earth to find and bring back God metal. What is God metal, you may be asking? Well, their father had a spear made of it, and he said he got it from a hunt. And what is God metal? It's their version. It's basically their name for vibranium. That's all it is. So they travel. So this Yautja takes a few of his men, his fellow Yautja, and they travel to Earth. And they get to Earth, and pretty much you can see them scanning the planet, like where God metal or vibranium would be. You see North America, there was a blip that goes off, and you probably knew who that was. There was a blip in Central America, and I'm like, who is that? Who's in Central America with vibranium? I didn't know what that one was. And then, of course, the biggest one was coming from Africa. They are able to sneak into Wakanda, the most highly advanced city, without being seen. And the subplot of that as well, they have alien tech. Now, when they get inside, they also cut communications with everything. They black out Wakanda, so no one will come be helping them if they need to. In there, Shuri has been arguing with her brother about Wakanda needs to do more to help the rest of the world and things like that. Typical stuff you would hear Shuri get to her brother on. That was fine. I love the voice that Ben Percy gives T'Challa in this. He sounds very wise, as he should, very smart, but also making sure he lets his sister know, hey, you may be smarter than me, but you are smarter than me, but I'm still, this and that. He does a good job of giving T'Challa a voice, and I appreciate that. Sometimes people tend to give T'Challa a voice, but they always just make him much of a jerk and a dickhead, and I hate that. He kind of comes off stereotypical, like a stereotypical royal asshole. You know what I'm saying? So yes, it was nothing like that. But from there, the pace just picks up. The Wakanda is under attack by a enemy that they can't see at first, and then they finally start to figure out who their enemy is. And over time, we see that once they start, some of the Wakandans start getting killed, and T'Challa's able to attack his enemy. He starts to wonder, okay, who are they? And he's like, I gotta know who these are. Who are my enemies? They're not. And he even talks about, he says, I always thought I would have to protect Wakanda from superpowered countries like Russia or China or America, but this is a threat that I'm not familiar with. And I was liking that too. I was like, okay, that makes some sense. And it made me wonder, like, okay, why? It seems like this is taking place in its own, because T'Challa has dealt with aliens before, so it just felt kind of weird at times. Eventually, he does figure out what the whole thing is about. And Shuri is able to, before anything, is able to get an SOS call out to the outside world. And who is to show up to help her? Sam Wilson, Falcon. Yes, Sam Wilson, Falcon, not Sam Wilson, Captain America. I was a little shocked at that. And I liked the banter between Shuri and Falcon. That was fun. But when T'Challa and the Dora Milaje and the War Dogs go to war with the Yautja, it's fucking amazing. It was great. I was loving that. And there's even a part where T'Challa goes into the astral plane and he talks to his grandfather, Azori. Yeah, he's talking to his grandfather, and his grandfather Azori talks about a time when how people looked at him like he was known as the isolationist king, like he wanted to keep Wakanda isolated from everybody. But he also talk about that Wakanda went to battle with a threat, and that threat was the Yautja. And I thought that was actually cool. I was like, okay, so they met before. The spear, remember I said the spear? That's where it came from. I don't think they were implying that the Yautja killed Azori, T'Challa's grandfather, but it basically says, they basically go on to say that there were many people that died on both sides, like 500 Wakandans died along with them, their enemy, and they studied their enemy, the bodies that were left behind. They studied their technology, and they basically imply, Ben Percy actually implies that the Wakandan tech actually is kind of, the Yautja tech is kind of an inspiration of how Wakanda developed their own technology. And I'm looking at that and I'm saying, okay, yeah, I see where you're going with that, Mr. Percy, but you're kind of diminishing Wakandan technology in general. I wasn't too much of a big fan of that. I was like, I don't know about that. That kind of downplays Wakandan tech. If you're basically saying they were inspired by, they were influenced and more. If Ben Percy had came out and just said they used their tech to make their own, I would have been pissed. That would have really heated me up. I was like, wait, no, But it just implies that they were inspired by the Yautja tech. But still, I don't really like that either. But we see the battle between T'Challa and this Yautja on the cover. The one, because they actually get to the Great Mound where Wakandan, where vibranium is, and they start just stealing it. They just start and taking it. And when T'Challa and Okoye and all of them get there, and basically T'Challa's like, I gotta do this on my own, and Okoye is like, no, my king, and he's like, no, I have to do this. I have to do this on my own. Not only that, he takes off his the Panther suit. No Panther suit, just a spear. Like, let's do battle. And so it was almost like he was challenging the Yautja, like, come on, let's see what you got without your tech. Because there was even a scene in here where Shuri is fighting one of them, and she just blatantly calls out the Yautja, is like, you coward. Like, I gotta admit, sometimes she's like, I gotta admit, there are parts, as much as I love the Predator, there are parts I'm like, yeah, it's kind of a cowardly thing, y'all. They stay in their optic camouflage and kill, or when they want to come out. I always felt that way. I'm like, yeah, that is kind of cowardly. Shuri does get the drop on one of them. That's really cool. The fight between this Yautja and T'Challa is actually cool, but we also see that what happened with this brother, the little brother, because that's what this is. When he fought his brother, he got beat. Here, T'Challa beats him again. T'Challa beats him, and he basically has the spear, and he's like, do you yield? He's like, do you yield? However, this Yautja is very different in a sense, because what he did is crazy. When he fought his brother, remember, he's smarter than his brother. So what he did was, he knew he probably couldn't outmatch him, but he outsmarted him. They say that he swallowed some of their tech, and so it's like in their body. So the wrist blade that comes, it was actually in him, in his wrist, so he could just, it was almost similar like Wolverine. I was like, okay. And I will say T'Challa gets badly hurt in this book. I'm not going to ruin what it is, what happens, but I will say he loses something, and they get away. It doesn't end on a good note. The Predators get away with mounds of vibranium. The end. No, that's not the end. It ends with Shuri and Falcon doing something really cool and really interesting, and it backfires on the Yautja. But the Yautja, the younger little brother, is able to make a distress call to his father and older brother, and that is where it ends. There you go. Basically, I'll let you know. Basically, what Shuri did was she with Falcon. Falcon was slowing down their ship a little bit, and you know, he was distracting them, while Shuri, she was able to bypass and hack one of the Predator's arm gauntlet blades, stuck it on their ship, and then actually fired up their you know, the detonation, and it blew up. That was really cool. And so that's how they saved the vibranium, because not only did it blow up, but you know, when vibranium blows up, it's a bigger explosion. So yeah, it was actually kind of cool. That was cool. This was fun. I really enjoyed this. Was it better than Wolverine versus Predator? No, it wasn't. And I'll tell you why. The Wolverine versus Predator had more stakes to it. And I'll let me explain that. Because in that book, it really went down to that Predator, that Yautja was just in hunt mode. He was obsessed with killing Wolverine, and we saw the different stages of Wolverine, like he just kept coming after him. And this was more of a heist. And it clearly was shown also that the Yautja that was trying to steal the vibranium, he was not as good as a warrior as T'Challa. Like, T'Challa beat him in single arm combat. And the only reason why he got the drop on T'Challa at the end was because T'Challa took his eyes off the ball real quick, and he didn't see that coming. I don't want to spoil. Like I said, T'Challa gets badly hurt. I'm not going to spoil what it was, but he's alive. But yeah, I was shocked. I was like, oh shit. I just said, oh shit. You know, but outside of that, it was fun. This was fun. We do know the next is Predator versus Spider-Man, or Spider-Man versus Predator. I think that actually comes out next week. But again, I get the Predator stuff in trade, so I'll be waiting for, I think the Spider-Man Predator, I think it comes out in September. I don't know. I don't remember when the trade comes out, but this was fun. It was fun, and it just showed what I always wanted. This was another. I always said I would like a Predator versus Black Panther, but like I said, Ben Percy is building to something, guys, and you keep seeing it in every book. The end for now, and it's like, okay. So he told us too that it's building to something. So I'm looking forward to what's the fourth story, because we know Spider-Man. Who's next? But outside of that, this was fun. I do recommend it. And for a $16 book, not bad. Not bad at all. Very good. But with that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed my little review on Ben Percy's Predator versus Black Panther. I look forward to the Spider-Man one, because that Yautja is just a blood killer. He has no honor. He's just a killer. So, and he's called Skinner in that. So I'm actually looking forward to that. I think we're gonna get a Spider-Man, Kraven versus Predator fight in that. So I'm looking forward to it. But outside of that, guys, you guys take care. Deuces.